You're listening to Clarity of Vision, Episode 7. Welcome back to Clarity of Vision. Today is going to be an episode where we get to matters of the heart. I've been doing a lot of soul searching today and a bit of crying. Actually, you may be able to hear that in my voice. I have been crying because I desperately miss my dear friend Andrew Vernon, who passed away back in 2021. He died on his 50th birthday. It was unexpected and shocking, and I'm still dealing with the grief years later. Andrew was we used to call each other our brothers from another mother. He was my partner in crime, my person I got into a lot of adventures with. But it's not just about missing Andrew. It's also about not appreciating what I had in my 20s. In my 20s, I struggled, but I also had amazing experiences and great times that I couldn't appreciate because I focused so much on the struggle and what I did not have. When I look back now, I wonder why I didn't appreciate it more. I'm 53 now. I'll be 54 this year. I'm rapidly approaching 60. And at this point in my life, I've become much more reflective, and I miss my friend. He was incredibly funny, smart. He knew more about computers than I'll ever know. He taught me so much. He taught me about friendship, about loyalty, about the true meaning of what it means to be a friend, a die-hard friend. There was a time in my life when I was really struggling. Both my parents were in the hospital. My father was dying of cancer, and I didn't know what I was going to do. Andrew would come visit me every day and encourage me, lift me up, make me feel like I really had a possible future. And I'll never be able to repay him for that, because that did more for me than he'll ever know. And I think that is the important thing we must all remember. When we extend a kindness to someone, even a stranger, it can be as small as a smile or a touch on the arm. That small encouragement to someone to say, hey, you got this. You can do this. You have value. That goes further in someone's life than we realize. It means more to people than we will ever know, especially young people that are trying to figure things out, that are trying to figure themselves out. I know I dealt with it when I was in my 20s. I know a lot of people did and do. And that's the negative voices that are in your head that are constantly telling you that you're no good, that you're not good enough. But we have to learn to keep those voices at bay, because they're not right. Because you are good enough. You're more than enough. When we struggle with those voices of negativity, it's always good to have a friend to remind you, hey, you're okay. You got this. You're smart. You have value, not just to me, but to the world. Not for what you do or what you can do. You have value because of who you are. In a capitalist society in which we live, it's easy to think your value is only measured by what you can produce, what you can offer to the financial world. Are you a productive member of society? And that is a false metric, I'm here to tell you. Don't believe that for a minute. Your intrinsic value, your undeniable value, has nothing to do with how much profit or money or financial value you can generate. It has intrinsically to do with who you are as a living being. And no one can take that away from you. No one can deny that. And when they try to, they are lying to you. You intrinsically have value because you are alive, because you are a spiritual being having a human experience, and your perspective of the world is valuable, immensely valuable. Never forget that. When the world closes in around you, it makes you feel small, Remember, you have value because of who you are, not what you can do. In this episode, I also want to talk about loneliness. I think we can all relate to the idea of struggling with loneliness in our modern world where we've become so connected. We can speak to anyone from anywhere in the world. And inversely and ironically, we have also become so incredibly disconnected. We go into public spaces with our ear pods in or our headphones on so that people know not to disturb us, not to interact with us. Hopefully, we can avoid social interaction. That's sad to me. Our world only makes sense when we experience it together. It is the human connection that is important, individually and collectively. Loneliness is something that I have struggled with since losing my friend, and before, but especially now. And the odd thing about loneliness is you can be in a room full of people and feel lonely. I know because I have been there. If you are not connecting with someone in that vast room full of people, it's easy to feel lonely. That's why it's important for us as human beings to connect with each other, to have common interests, common experiences, cultural touch points. That's what I miss most about my friend Andrew, among many things, but the shorthand we had. I could mention something from our childhood, and he would know exactly what I was talking about. Cryptic references to TV shows, songs, movies, etc. And he would know. And there becomes this efficient way of communicating with each other that is, or at least feels, effortless. And I miss that effortless communication, all those cultural touch points, all those references and common interests. You make new friends living here in California. I've been very blessed to make some amazingly new friends, some of which I have some of those cultural touch points with, and some I don't. You forge new references, new touch points, and that's exciting. I try to be grateful for what I have right now. I'm very lucky to have the people in my life that I have, and the friends that I've made I will have for the rest of my life. But there's nothing like an old friend, a friend you've spent decades cultivating that friendship. And when you see them, when you spend time with them, your soul sings because it is like no time has passed at all when you are together. No matter how far apart you live, how much time has drifted between you. My wife has a very good friend like that, someone she's known since childhood. And every time they get together, it's like no time has passed at all. That kind of friendship is very unique and does not come along very often in this lifetime. If you have that, nurture it, appreciate it, let that person know how much they mean to you. Andrew was a big fan of Apple and the Macintosh, and he was the person that introduced me into the Mac world. And we both sort of became Mac evangelists over the years, converting people, arguing with Windows users. And now, when I see what is happening in the world with artificial intelligence, I long to have long, meaningful discussions with Andrew about that because we could talk for hours about technology. He and I were fortunate enough to be there as the internet was beginning to take hold in our society. We saw it emerge as a major force of change in our world. We grew up in a time when there were 4 TV stations, no cable TV, no computers, no internet, and we watched the world change together. Now, as it changes again, I miss being able to share that with my friend. It feels lonely. But I do have friends, and they're amazing. I'm very lucky in that way. So I will forge ahead. I will never stop missing Andrew, but I will have new experiences, make new memories with new friends, and continue to honor my friend in how I live my life and how I treat others. Hopefully with the same kindness and generosity that he gave to me. So I'll leave you with one final thought. Appreciate your friends, no matter how long you've known them. no matter how little contact you may have or how far away they may be. Appreciate them, because each one of them brings something important into your life and you into theirs. That is the wonderful thing about friendship, is it is an exchange of blessings. Right. Well, that is it for this episode of Clarity of Vision. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.